Danny Carter was 8 years old when he changed the world. He did not know it at the time. He was just a small boy in a grocery store, holding his mother's hand and waiting in line to buy milk and bread. The store was called Market. It sat on the corner of Main Street in Cedar Falls, Iowa. The town was small and quiet. Nothing exciting ever happened there. People knew each other by name. They waved when they passed on the street. They talked about the weather and their gardens and their children. Danny's mother, Carter, had lived in Cedar Falls her whole life. She worked as a nurse at the local hospital. She was a kind woman with tired eyes and a warm smile. She loved her son more than anything in the world, even though he sometimes scared her. Danny had always been different, noticed it when he was very young. When he was 3 years old, he would look at people and say strange things. He would tell that some people had wrong colors. He would stare at strangers with wide eyes and refuse to go near them. The doctors said he had an active imagination. They said some children were just sensitive. They told not to worry, but did worry. She worried every single day. On this Tuesday afternoon, the store was not busy. There were only a few people inside. An old woman was looking at canned soup. A young man was buying beer. The store owner, Harold, stood behind the counter with a smile on his face. Harold had owned the store for 15 years. Everyone in town knew him. He was a big man with gray hair and friendly eyes. He always remembered people's names. He always asked about their families. He gave free candy to children on Halloween. Everyone liked Harold. Put her items on the counter. Harold scanned them one by one. "How are you today?" Harold asked. His voice was deep and warm. "I'm fine, Harold, just picking up a few things." "And how is young Danny doing?" Harold looked down at the boy with a kind smile. Danny did not smile back. He was staring at Harold with an expression had never seen before. His small body had gone stiff. His hand gripped fingers so hard it hurt. Danny said, "What's wrong?" Danny raised his other hand. He pointed his finger directly at Harold. His voice came out clear and loud. Everyone in the store could hear it. "Imposter." The word hung in the air like a gunshot. The old woman stopped looking at soup. The young man stopped walking to the door. Everyone turned to look at the small boy pointing at the store owner. Harold's smile flickered for just a moment. It was so fast that almost missed it. Something moved behind his eyes, something cold, something that did not belong in the face of a friendly store owner. Then Harold laughed. It was a big, warm laugh that filled the store. "Well now," Harold said, "someone has been watching too many cartoons." His face turned red. She grabbed Danny's hand and pulled it down. "I am so sorry, Harold. I don't know what has gotten into him." "Don't worry about it," Harold said. He was still smiling, but his eyes stayed on Danny. Kids say the strangest things sometimes. Paid for her groceries quickly. She took her bags and pulled Danny out of the store. She did not look back. If she had, she would have seen Harold watching them through the window. His smile was gone. His face was blank and empty like a mask. They drove home in silence. Danny sat in the back seat and looked out the window. He did not say anything, kept glancing at him in the mirror. When they got home, sat Danny down at the kitchen table. "Danny, why did you say that to Mr.?" Danny looked at his hands. "Because it's true." "What do you mean it's true? Mr. is a nice man. He has lived here forever." Danny shook his head slowly. "That's not Mr., Mommy. Mr. is gone. Something else is wearing his face." Felt a chill run down her back. The way Danny spoke was not like a child making up stories. He sounded certain. He sounded scared. "Danny, that's not possible. People can't wear other people's faces." "Some things can," Danny said quietly. "I can see them. I can always see them. They look like people on the outside, but on the inside they are something else, something wrong." Did not know what to say. She wanted to believe her son was just imagining things, but the look in his eyes was too real, too serious. That night could not sleep. She lay in bed and stared at the ceiling. She kept thinking about the moment in the store. The way Harold's smile had flickered. The way his eyes had gone cold for just a second. She told herself she was being silly. Harold was just a normal man. Her son had an overactive imagination. There was nothing to worry about. At 11 o'clock the phone rang. Picked it up with shaking hands. She did not know why she was so nervous. "Hello, Mrs. Carter. My name is Price. I'm a special agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigation." Almost dropped the phone. "The FBI, why are you calling me?" "Mrs. Carter, I need to ask you some questions about your son, about what happened at market today." His heart started beating very fast. "How do you know about that? It just happened a few hours ago." There was a pause on the other end of the line. When Agent Price spoke again, his voice was low and serious. "Mrs. Carter, we have been watching Harold for a very long time. Your son may have just confirmed something we have suspected for 3 years. I need to speak with Danny as soon as possible." "What are you talking about? What did Danny confirm?" Agent Price took a deep breath. "Mrs. Carter, I cannot explain everything over the phone, but I need you to understand something very important. Your son has a gift we did not know existed, and what he saw in that store today might change everything." Sat down on her bed. Her legs felt weak. Her mind was racing with questions she did not know how to ask. "What did he see?" she whispered. "Something that is not human," Agent Price replied. "Something that has been hiding among us for a very long time. And your son, Mrs. Carter, is the first person in recorded history who can see them with his own eyes." The line went silent. Sat in the darkness of her bedroom, holding the phone to her ear, and wondered if the world she knew had ever been real at all. The next morning came too fast. Had not slept at all. She sat at the kitchen table with a cup of cold coffee in her hands. Danny was still asleep in his room. She had not told him about the phone call. At exactly 9 o'clock, a black car pulled into her driveway. 2 people got out, a man and a woman. They wore dark suits and serious faces. They walked to the front door and knocked 3 times. Opened the door. Her hands were shaking. "Mrs. Carter, I am Agent Price. This is my partner, Agent Maria Santos. May we come in?" Price was a tall man in his 40s. He had short brown hair and kind eyes that did not match his serious voice. Maria Santos was younger. She had dark hair pulled back in a tight bun. Her eyes were sharp and watchful. Stepped aside and let them in. She led them to the living room. They all sat down, but nobody relaxed. "Where is your son?" Agent Price asked. "He is still sleeping. I wanted to talk to you first. I want to know what is going on before I let you near my child." Agent Price nodded. "That is fair. I will tell you what I can." He leaned forward in his chair. His voice dropped low. "Mrs. Carter, what I am about to tell you is classified information. Very few people in the world know about it. If you share it with anyone, you could put yourself and your son in danger. Do you understand?" Nodded. Her mouth was too dry to speak. "For the past 70 years, the United States government has been aware of non-human beings living on Earth. We do not know where they come from. We do not know how many there are. But we know they are here. They have been here for a very long time." Felt like the room was spinning. "Non-human beings, you mean aliens?" "We do not use that word," Agent Santos said. "We call them because they exist beneath the surface of what we can see. They wear human faces. They live human lives. But underneath they are something else entirely." "This is insane," said. "This cannot be real." Agent Price reached into his jacket and pulled out a folder. He opened it and placed several photographs on the coffee table. Looked at the pictures. At first, she did not understand what she was seeing. Then her brain made sense of the shapes, and she had to cover her mouth to stop herself from screaming. The photographs showed creatures. They had too many arms. Their faces were like smoke, always shifting, never staying still. Their bodies were covered in something that looked like black glass. They were horrible. They were wrong. They were nothing like anything that should exist in the world. "These are their true forms," Agent Price said quietly. "This is what they look like when they are not wearing their disguises." "Push the photographs away. Why are you showing me this?" "Because your son can see them. Even when they are wearing their human masks, he can see what they really are." "How is that possible?" Agent Price shook his head. "We do not know. For 70 years we have tried to find ways to detect them. We have used technology. We have used trained animals. We have even tried using people with psychic abilities. Nothing has worked. They are perfect at hiding. They leave no trace. They fool every test we have ever created." "But Danny can see them," Agent Santos added. "He looked at Harold, a being we have suspected for 3 years but could never prove, and he knew immediately. He did not need tests or equipment. He just knew." Thought about all the times Danny had said strange things about people. All the times he had refused to go near certain strangers. All the times he had whispered about wrong colors and something underneath. She had always thought he was different. She had never imagined he was seeing something real. "What do you want with my son?" asked. "We want to talk to him," Agent Price said. "We want to understand how his ability works, and if he is willing, we want his help." "His help with what?" "Finding them, identifying them, stopping them from doing whatever they are planning to do." Stood up from her chair. "He is 8 years old. He is a child. I am not going to let you turn him into some kind of weapon." Agent Santos raised her hands in a calming gesture. "We are not asking him to fight anyone. We just want him to look at photographs, watch some video, tell us who is real and who is not. He would be safe. We would protect him." "Protect him from what?" The agents looked at each other. Something passed between them, a silent conversation that could not understand. "They do not know we are watching them," Agent Price said carefully. "They do not know we have been hunting them for decades. If they find out that your son can see through their disguises, they will consider him a threat. They will try to remove that threat." "You mean they will try to kill him?" Agent Price did not answer. He did not need to. Sat back down. Her legs would not hold her anymore. She thought about her son sleeping peacefully in his room. She thought about the monsters hiding in human skin. She thought about a world that was nothing like she had believed. "Can I talk to him first?" she asked. "Before you do." "Of course." Went to Danny's room. She opened the door quietly and looked at her son. He was awake now, sitting up in bed, looking at her with those strange, knowing eyes. "The people are here, aren't they?" Danny said. "Yes, they want to talk to you about what you see." Danny nodded slowly. "I know. I've always known someone would come eventually." Sat on the edge of his bed. She took his small hands in hers. "Danny, these people say you can see things other people can't see, things that are pretending to be human. Is that true?" Danny looked at the window. The morning sun was shining through the glass. "I see layers, Mommy. Most people have one layer. Their inside matches their outside. But some people have 2 layers. The outside looks normal, but the inside is different. The inside is something that should not be here." "How long have you been seeing this?" "Forever. I thought everyone could see it. I didn't know I was different until I got older, until I realized nobody believed me when I talked about it." Pulled her son into a hug. She held him tight and tried not to cry. "These people want you to help them find the creatures with 2 layers. They want you to look at pictures and tell them who is real. Would you be willing to do that?" Danny pulled back and looked at his mother. His eyes were calm, too calm for a boy his age. "If I help them, will the creatures hurt us?" "The people say they will protect us." Danny thought about this for a long moment. Then he nodded. "Okay, I will help, but only if you stay with me. I don't want to be alone with strangers." Kissed his forehead. "I will never leave your side, I promise." They walked back to the living room together. The agents stood when they saw Danny. They looked at the small boy with something like wonder in their eyes. "Hello, Danny," Agent Price said gently. "My name is I am very glad to meet you." Danny looked at the agent carefully. He studied him for several seconds. "You are real," Danny said. "Both of you. Your insides match your outsides." Agent Santos let out a breath she had been holding. Agent Price smiled for the first time since he had arrived. "That is good to know," he said. "Danny, I would like to ask you some questions. Is that okay?" Danny nodded. "How many people have you seen with 2 layers? How many have you seen who are not real?" Danny held up 4 fingers. "The store man, my old teacher from 1st grade, a lady at the park near my house, and the man on television who talks about the weather." Agent Santos suddenly went very still. Her face lost all its color. "The weatherman," she said. "Which channel?" Danny told her. It was the biggest news station in the state. The weatherman he described was on television every single night. 3 million people watched him. 3 million people trusted him. Agent Price and Agent Santos looked at each other again. This time, could read their silent conversation clearly. It said that everything they thought they knew was about to change, and her son was the reason why. 2 days later, Danny and were on a plane. They flew to Virginia, to a place that did not appear on any map. The facility was hidden in the woods, surrounded by fences and guards. It looked like a normal office building from the outside, but underground it stretched for miles. Was scared. Danny was calm. He seemed to understand what was happening better than she did. Agent Price and Agent Santos met them at the entrance. They walked them through long hallways with white walls and bright lights. They passed people in suits, people in uniforms, people in lab coats. Everyone looked busy. Everyone looked serious. They stopped at a large room with comfortable chairs and a big screen on the wall. There were snacks and drinks on a table. Someone had put toys in the corner for Danny. "This is where you will work," Agent Price said. "We want to make you as comfortable as possible. You can take breaks whenever you need. You can ask for anything you want. We are not going to push you." Danny sat down in one of the chairs. It was too big for him. His feet did not touch the floor. "What do you want me to do?" he asked. "We are going to show you photographs and videos of people. All we need you to do is tell us if they are real or not, if their insides match their outsides." Danny nodded. "Okay, I can do that." The screen turned on. A photograph appeared. It showed a man in a business suit. He had gray hair and a serious face. He looked normal in every way. Danny studied the photograph for a few seconds. "Real," he said. The photograph changed. A woman this time, young, with hair and a bright smile. "Real." Another photograph. A man in a police uniform. "Real." This continued for almost an hour. Photograph after photograph. Most of them were real people. Danny said so quickly, without hesitation. But then a new photograph appeared. It showed a woman in a doctor's coat. She had dark hair and kind eyes. She looked like someone who helped people, someone who could be trusted. Danny's face changed. His body went stiff. His eyes grew wide. "Not real," he said. His voice was quiet. 2 layers, something else inside. Agent Santos typed something into a computer. Agent Price leaned forward. "Are you sure, Danny?" "Yes, the outside is a woman, but the inside is not. The inside is cold. The inside has too many parts." Felt sick. She looked at the photograph. The woman looked so normal, so human, but her son could see what nobody else could see. They continued showing Danny pictures. Over the next week, he identified 17 beings that were not human, 17 hiding in plain sight. One was an aide who worked for a senator in Washington. One was the administrator of a hospital in New York. 2 were police chiefs in different cities. One was a host of a children's television show that Danny used to watch when he was younger. Each identification was checked and confirmed. Agents investigated the people Danny had pointed out. They found strange things: bank accounts with money that came from nowhere, homes with rooms that had no doors, documents that did not match any records. The deeper they looked, the more wrong things they found. But the most important investigation was the one that started everything. Harold. A team of agents went to Cedar Falls on a Thursday night. They surrounded Smarket. They covered every exit. They had weapons that had been designed specifically for dealing with. They did not know if the weapons would work. They had never had a chance to test them before. Agent Price led the team. He walked through the front door of the store with 5 agents behind him. Harold was standing behind the counter, just like he had been when Danny pointed at him. His friendly smile was still on his face. "Can I help you?" Harold asked. His voice was warm and welcoming. "Harold," Agent Price said, "you are under arrest. Please step away from the counter and put your hands where we can see them." Harold's smile did not change. "I'm afraid there must be some mistake. I'm just a store owner. I haven't done anything wrong." "We know what you are," Agent Price said. "A boy saw you. He saw through your disguise. The game is over." For a long moment, nothing happened. Harold stood perfectly still. His smile stayed frozen on his face. Then something changed. His eyes went dark, not just the color. The light behind them went out completely. His face started to shift. The skin moved in ways that skin should not move. His friendly expression melted away like wax in a fire. "A boy," Harold said. His voice was different now. It was not one voice. It was many voices speaking together. "A human child can see us. This is not possible." "It is possible," Agent Price said. "And now you are coming with us." Harold's body began to change. He grew taller. His clothes ripped as his shape expanded. His arms split into multiple limbs. His face opened up to reveal something underneath, something made of black glass and shadow, something with too many eyes. The agents opened fire. The weapons worked. Bolts of blue energy hit the creature and it screamed, not with one voice but with hundreds. The sound was terrible. It filled the store and shattered all the windows. The creature collapsed. Its true form was exposed now. It was huge and wrong and nothing like anything that belonged on Earth. It lay on the floor, smoking and twitching, its many eyes slowly going dark. Agent Price looked down at it. He felt no satisfaction, only a deep, cold fear. Because if there was one, there were more, many more, and they had been hiding among humanity for longer than anyone knew. The next day, Danny was told what had happened. He did not seem surprised. "There are more," he said. "Many more. They have been here for a very long time." "How do you know that?" Agent Santos asked. Danny looked at his hands. "Because when I see them, I can feel something, like an echo, like they are connected to each other. They are part of something bigger, something I cannot see yet." Agent Price knelt down so he was at Danny's level. "Danny, what we found in the basement of that store, the equipment we found, our scientists say it was some kind of communication device. It was sending signals somewhere. We do not know where. We do not know to whom. But we think the creatures are organized. They have a plan." Danny looked into the agent's eyes. "They are watching us," Danny said. "They have been watching us forever. They are afraid of us. That is why they hide." "Afraid of us? We are just humans. They are so much more advanced." Danny shook his head slowly. "That is not what I feel when I see them. I feel fear, not our fear of them, their fear of us. They are scared of something we can do, something we do not even know we can do yet." Agent Price did not know what to say. He looked at the small boy sitting in the oversized chair, a child who could see through disguises that had fooled humanity for centuries, a child who might hold the key to understanding everything. "What do they want?" Agent Price asked. "Why are they here?" Danny looked toward the window. His eyes were far away, seeing something nobody else could see. "I do not know yet," he said quietly. "But I think we are going to find out soon. Something is coming, Something is changing. They know I can see them now, and that changes everything. In the distance, the sun was setting. The sky turned red and orange and purple. It was beautiful. It was peaceful. But underneath the beauty, underneath the peace, something was moving. Something was waking up. And for the first time in 10,000 years, it was afraid. The message came at midnight. Every communication device in the facility lit up at the same time. Phones, computers, radios, even the old fax machines that nobody used anymore. They all received the same signal, a burst of sound that lasted exactly 3 seconds. The scientists worked through the night to decode it. By morning, they had a translation. Agent Price read it out loud to the team gathered in the conference room. The hunters have awakened. The young one sees, abort Protocol 7, return to observation. Nobody spoke. The words hung in the air like a curse. What does it mean? Asked. She had been allowed to attend the meeting because of Danny. It means they know, Agent Santos said. Her voice was tired. She had not slept in 3 days. They know that Danny can see them, and they are responding. Protocol 7, another agent said. That must be some kind of plan, something they were going to do, but now they are stopping it because of the boy. Agent Price shook his head slowly. Not just stopping. They are running. Look at the reports from the last 12 hours. He spread papers across the table. Reports from agents all over the country. Strange events. Unexplained disappearances. Houses found empty with no sign of the people who lived there. Every that Danny identified has vanished. The senator's aide is gone. The hospital administrator is gone. The police chiefs, the television host, all of them, gone. It is like they never existed. Where did they go? Asked. We do not know. Some of them seem to have fled. We found tracks leading into forests, into caves, into places where we cannot follow. But others, they did not run. They just stopped existing. Agent Santos pulled out a photograph. It showed a television studio, a desk where someone should have been sitting. But instead of a person, there was only a pile of gray ash shaped vaguely like a human body. The weatherman, she said. We found him like this in his studio. His body was hollow, empty, like something had left it behind, like a snake shedding its skin. Danny had been listening quietly in the corner. Now he spoke up. They did not die, he said. They left. The thing that was wearing the body went back to where it came from. The body was just a shell, just a costume. Back to where? Agent Price asked. Danny closed his eyes. He seemed to be concentrating on something far away. I do not know, somewhere else. Somewhere I cannot see, but they are still watching. They are always watching. For the next few days, everything was chaos. Agents scrambled to track the missing. Scientists studied the remains left behind. Politicians demanded answers that nobody could give. And then on the 5th day, something unexpected happened. A woman walked into an FBI field office in Denver, Colorado. She was well dressed and calm. She did not seem nervous at all. She walked up to the front desk and said 5 words that changed everything. I want to surrender peacefully. Her name was Vance. She had been a city councilwoman in Denver for 12 years. She was respected. She was trusted. She had won 3 elections. Nobody had ever suspected her of being anything other than a normal human being. But Danny had identified her from a photograph 2 weeks ago. The agents in Denver did not know what to do. They had never had a surrender before. They had never even talked to one. They put in a holding room and called Virginia. 3 hours later, Agent Price arrived. He walked into the room where was waiting. She sat at a table with her hands folded in front of her. She looked exactly like a normal woman, but something in her eyes was not quite right. Something was too old, too knowing, too patient. Mrs. Vance, Agent Price said, or whatever your real name is. Smiled gently. I have had many names over the centuries, is fine for now. Why did you surrender? Because running is pointless. Because hiding is over. Because a child looked at my kind and saw the truth for the first time in 10,000 years. Agent Price sat down across from her. 10,000 years. You have been here that long. Longer. We were watching your kind when you were still living in caves, when you were painting pictures on stone walls, when you first looked up at the stars and wondered what was out there. Why were you watching us? Smile faded. Something serious entered her eyes. Because you are different. Because you are dangerous. Because in all our travels across the universe, in all the millions of species we have observed, we have never seen anything like humanity. Agent Price leaned forward. What makes us different? Was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was soft. You change, you grow, you create, you dream. You fight and love and hate with a passion we cannot understand. Every other species we have found simply exists. They evolve slowly over millions of years. They reach a certain point and stop. But humans, you never stop. You are always pushing forward, always reaching for something more. Is that why you are afraid of us? Nodded. We have watched civilizations rise and fall across 1,000 galaxies. We have seen beings of pure energy. We have seen minds that span entire star systems, but none of them ever scared us. Only humans, only you. Why? We have not even left our own planet yet. We are nothing compared to you. Looked directly into Agent Price's eyes. That is what makes you so terrifying. You are nothing now, but we have seen what you will become. We have run the calculations. We have studied your history. In a few thousand years, maybe less, humanity will spread across the stars like a fire. You will grow so powerful that even we will not be able to stop you. Agent Price did not know what to say. The idea was too big, too impossible. So you came here to stop us, to slow us down. Shook her head. No, we came to watch, to understand, to learn how such a young species could burn so brightly. We were supposed to observe only, never interfere, never touch. But some of us got too close. Some of us became fascinated. Some of us forgot the rules. Protocol 7. Yes, Protocol 7 was a contingency plan. If humanity ever developed the ability to detect us, we were supposed to take action. Subtle action. Small changes to slow your progress, to give us time to prepare. Prepare for what? Looked away. Her human mask flickered slightly at the edges. For the day when you would finally come to the stars, for the day when you would find us. We wanted to be ready. We wanted to have a plan, but now that does not matter anymore. Why not? Turned back to Agent Price. Her eyes were sad. Because a little boy pointed at one of us and said a single word, and that word ended 10,000 years of secrecy. We cannot hide from humanity anymore, and that means everything is about to change. Agent Price stood up from his chair. I want you to talk to someone, he said. The boy who saw you, his name is Danny. He has questions. I think you might have answers. Nodded slowly. I will talk to him, but I must warn you. What I tell him, what I tell all of you, will change the way you see the universe forever. There is no going back after this. I understand. No, said quietly. You do not, but you will. The door opened. A guard led out of the room. Agent Price stood alone, thinking about everything she had said. Humanity was being watched. Humanity was feared. Humanity was destined for something great and terrible and beyond imagination. And an 8-year-old boy from Iowa was the one who had revealed it all. They brought to meet Danny the next afternoon. The meeting took place in a room with soft chairs and warm lights. They wanted Danny to feel safe. They wanted him to feel comfortable. But the truth was that nobody in that building felt safe anymore. Sat next to her son. Agent Price and Agent Santos stood by the door. Sat across from Danny, her hands folded calmly in her lap. Her human disguise was perfect. She looked like a kind woman in her 50s, the sort of person who might bake cookies for her neighbors. But Danny could see what she really was. Your inside does not match your outside, Danny said. His voice was steady. He was not scared, he was curious. Nodded slowly. I know you can see what I am. That is why I wanted to talk to you. Why are you here? Why did you come to Earth? Thought about her answer for a long time. We came because of you, because of humanity. We are part of a coalition, a group of many species from many worlds. We have been traveling the universe for longer than your planet has existed. We study. We observe. We try to understand. Understand what? Everything, life, intelligence, the patterns that connect all living things. We thought we knew all the answers. We thought we had seen everything there was to see. And then we found your world. Danny leaned forward in his chair. What was different about us? His human face showed something like wonder. You were burning, not with fire, but with something else. Energy, passion, a light that we had never seen before. Your species was so young, so primitive. You had no technology, you had no power, but you had something we did not understand. Something we still do not understand. What is it? Shook her head. We do not have a word for it. The closest translation in your language might be spark or soul or maybe will. It is the thing that makes you keep going when everything is against you. The thing that makes you dream of flying when you have no wings. The thing that makes you believe in tomorrow even when today is full of pain. Danny was quiet for a moment. Then he asked the question that everyone wanted answered. Are you our enemies? Looked surprised by the question. No, we are not your enemies. We are your observers. We have rules, strict rules. We are not supposed to interfere with developing species. We are only supposed to watch. But you did interfere, Agent Price said from the doorway. Protocol 7, you were planning something. His expression changed. Something like shame crossed her face. Some of us broke the rules. We got too close. We started to care about what happened to your world. We saw your wars, your cruelty, your destruction. But we also saw your art, your love, your sacrifices. We saw parents die for children. We saw strangers help strangers. We saw people fight against impossible odds and refuse to give up. She paused, gathering her thoughts. Some of us wanted to help, to guide you, to nudge you away from your worst impulses. Others wanted to slow you down, to give us time to prepare for the day when you would finally reach the stars. Protocol 7 was a compromise. Small actions, tiny changes, nothing that would be noticed. What kind of changes? Asked. Looked at Danny's mother with old, tired eyes. Delays to your space program, conflicts between your nations, technologies that disappeared before they could be developed. We did not want to hurt you. We just wanted to buy time. Time for what? Danny asked. Time to decide what to do about you. Humanity is like a fire, Danny. Fires can warm you, but they can also burn everything down. We have seen species destroy themselves. We have seen species destroy others. We did not know which kind of fire humanity would become, so we watched and waited, and now we do not have to wonder anymore. Why not? Smiled at him. It was a real smile, warm and genuine. Because of you. Because when you pointed at one of us and said that word, you showed us something we had never seen before. A human who could see through any disguise. A human who could not be fooled. A human who saw the truth even when it was hidden. What does that mean? Leaned closer. Her voice dropped to almost a whisper. It means humanity is ready. It means you are no longer children learning to walk. It means the fire is about to spread beyond your world. And it means we can no longer hide from you. The room was silent. Everyone understood the weight of what was saying. Agent Price stepped forward. What happens now? Stood up from her chair. Her human form flickered slightly, just for a second, showing hints of something vast and ancient underneath. Now we talk. Not just me and you, but all of us. The coalition, the watchers, the ones who have been observing your kind since the beginning. This boy has opened a door that can never be closed again. Humanity will no longer be alone. For better or worse, you are now part of a much larger universe. 2 months later, Danny and finally went home. The government gave them money. They gave them protection. They gave them a new house in a quiet town where nobody knew their names. Danny could finally go back to school. He could finally play with friends again. He could finally be a normal kid. But he was not normal. He would never be normal again. Sometimes, late at night, he would look up at the stars and think about everything had told him. About the coalition watching from the shadows. About humanity's fire burning bright in the darkness. About the future waiting out there among the distant suns. Years passed. Danny grew up. He went to college. He studied science. He got a job working for the agency that had found him as a child. He helped train other children who had the same gift he did. They were rare, but they existed. Humanity was learning to see. And then one day, humanity finally reached the stars. The first human ships flew past the moon, past Mars, past the edge of the solar system. They went farther and faster than anyone had ever dreamed possible. And when they arrived at their destination, they found that someone was waiting for them. The coalition sent ambassadors, beings from a dozen different worlds, creatures of light and shadow and crystal and smoke. They came to meet the species that had burned so brightly from the darkness. And they asked to speak with Danny Carter. He was 40 years old now. Gray was starting to appear in his hair. Lines were forming around his eyes. But when he looked at the alien ambassadors, he saw the same thing he had always seen. He saw their layers. He saw their truth. One of the ambassadors stepped forward. It was tall and silver, with eyes like pools of liquid light. "You are the one," it said. Its voice was like music. "You are the child who saw through our masks, the child who ended 10,000 years of hiding." Danny nodded. "I am. We have watched your kind for so long. We have debated about you, argued about you. Some of us feared you, some of us admired you, but none of us truly understood you. Do you understand us now?" The ambassador was quiet for a moment. "No," it said finally. "We still do not understand. We have watched humanity for centuries. We have seen your cruelty and your kindness, your destruction and your creation. We have seen you fall and rise and fall again. And through it all you kept going. You never stopped. You never gave up." The ambassador moved closer to Danny. Its silver form shimmered in the light. "We have seen 1,000,000 species across 1,000,000 worlds. We have seen empires that lasted for billions of years. We have seen minds so vast that they could hold entire galaxies in their thoughts, but none of them ever did what humanity has done. None of them ever burned with the same fire." Danny smiled. It was the same calm smile he had worn as a child. "We were never alone, were we?" he said. "You were always watching. From the first cave paintings to the first rockets, you saw everything." "Yes. And you were afraid of us the whole time." The ambassador did not deny it. "Yes, we were afraid, we are still afraid, but we are also amazed, and curious, and maybe just a little bit hopeful." "Hopeful for what?" The ambassador reached out something that might have been a hand. Danny took it. It felt like holding starlight. "Hopeful that the fire that burns inside humanity will light up the darkness of the universe. Hopeful that the spark we saw in you as children will grow into something beautiful. Hopeful that we were not wrong to watch. Hopeful that we were not wrong to wait." Danny looked around at the ambassadors from a dozen worlds. He thought about his mother who had died peacefully a few years ago, proud of the man her son had become. He thought about the agents who had believed in him. He thought about who had been the first to reach across the gap between species. And he thought about himself as a little boy, standing in a grocery store, pointing at a monster wearing a human face. "I always knew we were not alone," Danny said. "I just had to show everyone else." The ambassador nodded. "And now you have. Now everyone knows. The universe is no longer hiding from humanity, and humanity is no longer hiding from the universe." Danny looked up at the stars. There were so many of them, so many worlds waiting to be discovered, so many stories waiting to be told. The fire was spreading, and it would never go out.